into the Inland Empire, into the Inland Empire. Follow me into the Inland Empire. Into the Inland
Welcome to the Inland Empire Ecological Anomalies Chronicle. From the storm-slick seawalls of S.H.I.V.E. Bay to the high-altitude sink basins of the Mirror Mount Fold, this broadcast traces the faint trails left by the unclassified, the overlooked, and the quietly essential. Here, ecosystems are not just habitats, they're interface zones, where pressure fronts meet information layers, and species adapt not only to nature, but to structure, noise, and memory. Each week, we explore one entity, one site, or one anomaly, documented through late-night field notes, recovered audio, and the occasional flicker from an unregistered motion sensor. I'm ELC Cora Silverfish, and this is the Chronicle. It's 2:20 a.m. right now, and I'm standing in front of the observation window at the Northern Territory's temporary containment facility. A thin layer of frost has formed on the glass, and through it, I can see the scavenger-class individual in the containment chamber. It's moving along the corner of the wall, sideways, with its claws and carapace edges performing rhythmic gripping and releasing motions like some kind of precision climbing apparatus. Its eye stalks are upright, antennae trembling slightly in the air, sensing every trace of information density remaining in this unfamiliar environment. This is a Trench-17 Sidewalker recovered from the S.H.I.V.E. Bay Drainage Network Interface Zone, Scavenger Tier. No assigned identification number, condition stable. But what I'm here to talk about today isn't entirely about this one. What I'm here to talk about is its kin, the elite individual marked as ELC-X-001. In the Courtyard State's internal archives, it has a more street-level designation, Crabbro. The name sounds casual, but the observation records behind it are anything but. It's classified as a resonance-type entity, L2 elite grade, with a specific and limited activity range. S.H.I.V.E. Bay's Trench-17, also known as the OG sector, and the Urban Drainage Network Interface Zone that interlocks with it, storm drains, drainage outlets, maintenance wells, the underside of seawalls. It's not here to claim territory, nor to win any battles. Its function is closer to a nail driven up from the deep-sea information layer, pinning the boundaries of reality back into a readable state. If you visit the Trench-17 drop-off zone during the day, your first impression won't be horror, it'll be order. The concrete surface of the seawall has a layer of salt frost, with blackened seaweed wedged in the cracks, and the iron grating over the storm drains looks like old teeth. Wind blows up from the sea surface, carrying a briny smell, but when you stand at the edge of a drainage outlet, you'll suddenly realize the scent here doesn't just belong to the ocean, it also belongs to what the city expels from itself. At the escarpment edge of Trench-17, the water body seems cut into two layers. The upper layer is light and foam, where you can see sunlight dancing on the ripples. The lower layer is like a heavier, denser, tongue-shaped current, flowing along the boundary, darker in color, slower in velocity. For Crabbro and its colony, this tongue-shaped current isn't pollution background. It's more like food and a navigation line, both guiding the way and providing sustenance. This brings us to a core question. Why don't the Trench-17 Sidewalkers appear all over the Inland Empire's other water bodies? The answer is simple and brutal. What they depend on isn't water bodies themselves, but a three-component system. First component, there must be an upwelling point from the deep pressure information layer. Places like trenches, boundary breaks, deep channels, like throats, through which the deep sea coughs up messages. Second component, they need a boundary layer formed by black water or high-density residue, along which they perform edge tracking. Third component, and the most critical, they need structuralized corridors, drainage networks, seawalls, maintenance passages, allowing them to move, patrol, and conduct ambush-style observation without exposure. Without these three components, they're like entities without maps or language, with difficulty reproducing an unstable residence. So this is a localized species, a regional asset, not a creature that spawns randomly across the entire map. Now back to the behavioral level. If you've seen footage recovered from the field, you must have noticed they walk sideways. This isn't some amusing biological detail, it's a navigation algorithm. During lateral movement, their tactile and vibration perception is more acute, allowing them to perform precise edge tracking along the black water boundary layer. The passable cross-sections of drainage networks and seawall cracks are often elongated. Lateral displacement saves space and also keeps them from positioning themselves directly under streetlights. And black water combined with psychedelic drift will cause perceptual slippage during straight-line sprinting. Imagine running in dense fog with reference points constantly shifting. Lateral movement is more like walking along contour lines, far more stable. What's even more interesting is their anatomical structure. The two legs you see are functionally not propulsion devices, they're support pylons. The actual displacement comes from the gripping and releasing of claws and carapace edges, performing a grip-release cycle along boundaries like climbing gear. There's also a set of microjoints on the ventral side responsible for lateral stepping, which has been anchored by the 1990s filter into a hard-to-see but very smooth visual effect. So no matter how human-like it appears, the rules remain. No straight lines, no heroic narratives, only advancement along structurally permitted boundaries. The scavenger individual before me is using this system to explore the corners of the containment chamber, searching for any crack that could be classified as a structuralized corridor. At the population level, the geographic distribution of Trench-17 Sidewalkers has been divided into 4 zones by us. The core habitat zone is singular, IDE Bay plus Trench-17 plus the urban drainage network interface zone. Only here are juveniles, nest traces, and complete colony structures permitted to appear. If you find a pile of shed shells near a drainage outlet there, or see individuals smaller than adults with lighter coloration, you can basically confirm you're standing in Zone A's core. The peripheral expansion zone consists of near-shore branches connected to Trench-17's deep layer circuit and a few old sea discharge outlets, where adult patrols can be seen, but numbers are low and sighting rates are minimal. The sporadic intrusion zone only appears briefly when storm backflow and blackwater residue are pushed in. Individuals will seem strange, won't survive long, and can only be recorded as anomalous symbolic events. As for places like high-altitude streams and closed freshwater systems, they simply don't exist there, because without the 3 components, they're cut off from supplies and lost. Within the population, they have a tier system of positions, not variants, positions. Scavenger-class individuals, like the one before me, are responsible for recovering residue and maintaining corridor navigability. The most numerous, distributed in the core habitat zone and peripheral expansion zone. Monitor-class individuals are responsible for edge patrol, sniffing black water residue, and investigating anomalies. Fewer in number. Juvenile groups only appear in the core zone. Sighting them is almost equivalent to confirming you're standing at the true center of the colony. And the elite tier, the EX individuals, are extremely rare, typically only appearing in the core zone during deep layer circuit opening windows. Their function isn't combat, it's stabilization and pinning down interfaces. IEEAC-001 is such an elite individual. It's not here to win some victory for an agent. It's here to prevent the agent from losing to hallucinations, from sinking down, from mortgaging their soul to black water echoes. When it appears at a drainage outlet or maintenance well entrance, ambient environmental noise seems to have its volume turned down. Not complete disappearance, but dampened, dulled, with psychedelic drift, cancelled out and reality pinned down. This is why it's classified as a rhythmic anchor entity. Its very existence is a form of calibration, realigning perceptions that have begun to slip due to black water and grey mirror edges back to an operational frequency band. In field observations, there are several signals that can help you interpret their existence state. If you see juveniles, shell piles, or nest traces, you're in the core habitat zone, Zone A confirmed. If you see an X individual appear while ambient noise suddenly drops, that likely means the deep layer circuit is opening. Blackwater boundaries are more active and reality is being pinned down. If it refuses to respond to imperative language, the more heroic you are, the more you try to control it, the more it ignores you. That means your interaction method is wrong. These entities have a natural affinity for edge-following logic. The more you respect structure, the less you try to forcibly break through boundaries, the more it will treat you as a collaboratable subject. Now back to the scavenger individual. It has already found 3 corners in the containment chamber that it considers navigable, and has begun conducting low-frequency vibration tests along the walls, as if confirming whether there are hidden pipeline interfaces here. Its clawfoot gripping rhythm is stable, approximately 1.2 times per second, a frequency that corresponds to low alert patrol state in our records. It hasn't shown aggression yet, nor has it attempted to damage the containment structure. It's just doing its job, recovering residue, maintaining passages, confirming whether this place falls within its 3-component system range. From an ecological perspective, the Trench-17 Sidewalkers are a highly specialized localized species. They're not adapted for wide area dispersal, not adapted for high-altitude freshwater systems, not adapted for open water bodies without structuralized corridors, but within their ecological niche, they are irreplaceable. They stabilize that blurry boundary between the deep-pressure information layer and urban drainage network interfaces, allowing agents, researchers, and even ordinary residents to maintain minimal operability in areas that should be completely out of control. ELC-X-JW-01 as an elite individual is even more of a key node in this system. It doesn't create order, it simply pins already existing but collapsing order back to its original position. One final field intuition to add. If you encounter it during a night shift in S.H.I.V.E, Bay, don't try to interact with commands, threats, or heroic posturing. Those are ineffective against it. What you need to do is find the nearest structuralized corridor, walk along the boundary, keep a low profile, and let it know you understand the rules here. It will assess whether you qualify as a collaboratable boundary respecter, and then decide whether to yield, ignore, or treat you as an obstacle that needs clearing. This isn't domestication, it's mutual confirmation of whether your navigation protocols are compatible. This is the Trench-17 Sidewalkers. Localized, specialized, functionally precise. They're not here to conquer the world. They're here to maintain the world from collapsing at certain specific nodes. And ELC-X-JW-01, that elite individual called Crabbro, is the most precise nail in this system. Observation concluded. The time is 3:05 a.m. The lights in the containment chamber are still on, but I'm preparing to leave. This scavenger individual should remain here until we complete basic data collection, then be returned to its 3-component system zone. It doesn't belong here. It belongs to places with deep pressure upwelling points, with black water boundaries, with structuralized corridors. That's its map, its language, its home. This is Ripple Echo, Northern Territory Temporary Containment Facility. Inland Empire Ecological Anomalies Chronicle Episode 1 concluded.